Have you ever had to walk around an old basement, or maybe your power goes out and you gotta look for something, you're just walking around quietly with just a flashlight, and you just feel like, is there somebody else here? Is there something in this space with me? I can't quite tell. There shouldn't be, logically, but maybe there is. That uncomfortable feeling, that dread, that terror that just seems to be in all of us of the unknown, what's lurking around the corner, what's in the shadows. I love that feeling. And if you love that feeling, Longlegs is the movie for you. That creepy, crawly, gross, uncomfortable feeling that we all kind of crave, or at least some of us do, Longlegs absolutely delivers on that feeling. This, without question, is one of the creepiest movies I have ever seen. For some reason, the genre of investigating a serial killer while wearing an FBI jacket, which I think is its own film genre in itself, has been widely underserved. We get a lot of it in TV, and I think true crime is one of those things that's maybe filled a gap for some people that we're not getting the Sevens anymore, or, the Memories of Murder, Cure, all those types of movies, Manhunter, but they're just not as good as those 90s thrills. This is the first time I've seen a modern movie that is as good as those classics.
You could have made nice with me.
And I don't think it's just a copycat. There is a lot of this stuff that's just directly riffing and ripping off from Silence of the Lambs and Seven for sure, but it always feels fresh and modern and new at the same time. And I think a lot of that has to do with the aesthetic. It's shot digital, it looks digital, it kind of looks actually how I'm shooting this right now. And so it has a bit of a cold sheen put onto it. And I think that was smart. I think if aesthetically it looked too much like Seven or Silence of the Lambs, it would have just felt like a ripoff. This feels like a homage, taking all the things that are great about those movies, but making something new. This is one of the best looking movies of the year, and probably one of the best looking horror movies of the last, I couldn't even tell you. It's shot with these really nice wide angle lenses. Everything lets you take in the frame. And because of that uncomfortable creepiness we've talked about, you're always looking in the corners. I felt like the entire theater watching this movie was leaning forward and trying to investigate, is there a guy over there? Is there something there? What's happening? And it's shot with these big, wide master frames that lets you soak all of that in. Sometimes Maika Monroe is just right here, and you're looking at all the stuff around her being like, is Longlegs chilling back there? Is something gonna jump out? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, no spoilers, but you're always wondering, something might jump out at me, something might be there, and that tension is throughout this entire movie. It is always at 11. And it might seem that this whole movie is just a terrible experience, but it's not. It's beautiful, it is so well acted, and I also found it extremely funny at times. And a lot of that had to do with Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage, love him or hate him, I absolutely love him. I pretty much like him in any role that he does. I like his over-the-top takes and his more chill, subdued roles. And this is an iconic role for Nicolas Cage. It is the new icon of horror, one of my favorite serial killer characters I think I've seen in a very long time, but it's still Nicolas Cage. And I don't want to make this a critique. I don't think this makes the film worse. I think it makes it better. But my brother and I were watching this movie at a press screening, and the two of us, and along with a few other people in the theater, laughed at quite a few scenes that Nick Cage was in. His performance is very physical, it's animated as you'd probably expect, and your mileage may vary. Even in the most scary moments, the way he acts and the way he behaves, I thought it was funny, but that was more of a coping mechanism for how fucked up it was.
You just go, wow. But there was an equal amount of times that you go, what the fuck?
There are some moments in this movie with Nicolas Cage that I will think about for the rest of my life. It is one of his best performances. I think he was perfectly cast. It's gonna be a really interesting discussion to see how people react to him, because the marketing has done such a good job of hiding Nick Cage in this movie. And then when it comes to Maika Monroe, phenomenal. I've loved her since It Follows. We've always thought she was good. I think Longlegs proves that she's great.
Don't move.
I saw a clip of her that mentioned she was channeling a bit of Rooney Mara in Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and I totally saw that. Her facial expressions, the way she behaves in different situations and scenes, you are with her in those moments. You feel her terror and her tension. It is fantastic. This is one of my favorite movies of the year, guys. I really, really love this. It made me uncomfortable. It made me feel tense. It made me feel dread. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. And this is something that's maybe only relatable for people that want to make movies, but sometimes you see something and you just get this intense jealousy in a very positive way that you just go, shit, I wish I made this. This is one of those movies. This is the kind of movie I really want to make. If you've seen any of my short films, you might even see some of the parallels aesthetically and tonally to Longlegs. So this was a nice big kind of slap on my face or wherever I'm getting slapped to be like, Patrick, make the fucking movie because people like this kind of shit and it's out there in the world now. Time is now. And trust me, this movie has me thinking, let's go, forget all this. It's time to make a movie. And for that reason alone, I have to recommend this. Please go see this in a theater, see it twice, see it 3 times, see it as many times as you can, because I want to make movies like this. And I want more movies like this. I think a lot of us want movies like this. I'll be transparent, I haven't seen any other Ozgood Perkins movies. This is my first instance of watching an Ozgood Perkins movie, and I'm hooked. This is a distinct voice that has a clear taste that I am completely aligned to. I loved his visual aesthetic and his language, his humor, just everything, the tone, the way this movie feels. My God, I fucking loved it.
Oh, there she is.
One bizarre thing that I found with this movie is that it was marketed as the scariest thing you'll ever see. The way this film was marketed is brilliant, don't get me wrong. It's some of the best film marketing I've seen. I just don't think it promises the movie you end up watching. This movie is scary, but scary in an uncomfortable way. It's not scary like you're gonna be thinking about for the rest of your life and you can't go to sleep that night. I'm not having nightmares about Longlegs. And so I'm a little bit worried that some people are going in being like, melt my face off. I wanna be fucking terrified. I wanna shit my pants during this movie from being so scared. I just don't think that's gonna happen, but that's okay. I much prefer this type of horror. I've made videos in the past of how I think David Fincher is a great horror director, even though he doesn't really make horror movies. If you love the basement scene in Zodiac or the basement scene in Prisoners, you're absolutely gonna love Longlegs. That is the feeling of this movie. And of course, it's a movie I highly recommend. All right, well, I don't really have a smart, smooth way to end this video and say goodbye, so I guess I'll see you guys soon. Sorry I've been away for a little bit. A lot of stuff happened that I'm not gonna get into in this video because it's none of your business, okay? Anyways, see ya.
I've been looking down at